There comes a moment in life when you realize something uncomfortable. People do not always treat you the way you deserve. They treat you according to what you allow. And that is where your transformation begins. If you've ever been ignored, taken for granted, spoken to without respect, or treated as though your kindness was weakness, then listen carefully. Because the goal is not to make people fear you. The goal is to become the kind of person whose presence naturally commands respect. You do not need to shout. You do not need to threaten anyone. You do not need to prove that you are powerful. Real strength is quieter than that. When you control your emotions, people notice. When you keep your promises, people notice. When you stop chasing approval, people notice. When you know your boundaries and calmly defend them, people notice. And eventually, people understand something. There are consequences to disrespecting this person. That is not fear created through intimidation. That is respect created through character. Think about it. If someone knows you will forgive everything, they may continue crossing your boundaries. If someone knows you desperately need their approval, they may control you with their opinions. If someone knows you will always come running when they call, they may stop valuing your time. But when you become disciplined enough to walk away from what diminishes you, everything changes. Your silence becomes stronger. Your no becomes meaningful. Your presence becomes different. You stop explaining yourself to everyone. You stop arguing with people who have already decided to misunderstand you. You stop trying to convince someone of your worth, and you begin building something far more powerful. Self-respect. Because the strongest person in the room is not always the loudest. Sometimes it is the person sitting quietly, watching carefully, speaking only when necessary, and refusing to betray their own values. So today, ask yourself, are people disrespecting me because they are bad people? Or have I unknowingly taught them that disrespecting me has no consequences? That question can change your life. Because once you change what you tolerate, you change the way people experience you. And once you change yourself, you no longer need to force anyone to respect you. Your discipline will speak, your boundaries will speak, your actions will speak, and eventually your character will speak louder than your words ever could. So don't become dangerous because you want people to fear you. Become strong because you refuse to become someone who can be easily manipulated, easily broken, or easily controlled. That is where real power begins. The first step toward earning genuine respect is to stop chasing approval. This is one of the hardest lessons to learn because from childhood, many of us are taught to seek acceptance. We want people to like us. We want them to agree with us. We want to be included, appreciated, praised, and understood. But when your sense of worth depends on how other people respond to you, you quietly give them control over your emotions. Think about how much energy you spend wondering what someone thinks about you. You send a message and wait for their reply. Someone looks at you differently, and you immediately question yourself. Someone criticizes your decision, and suddenly you doubt your entire path. Someone doesn't appreciate your effort, and you feel worthless. This is not confidence. This is emotional dependence. Real confidence begins when you understand that your value does not increase because someone praises you, and it does not decrease because someone rejects you. You don't need everyone to understand your journey. You don't need everyone to support your decisions. You don't need to explain every choice you make. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can say is nothing at all. When you stop chasing approval, your behavior changes. You stop saying yes when you really mean no. You stop laughing at disrespect just to keep the peace. You stop pretending to agree because you're afraid of being rejected. You stop changing your personality depending on who is standing in front of you. And people notice. They notice when you no longer need their permission to be yourself. But understand this carefully. Confidence does not mean becoming arrogant. It does not mean believing that you are better than everyone else. Arrogance needs an audience. Confidence doesn't. A confident person can walk into a room without demanding attention. They can listen without feeling inferior. They can accept criticism without immediately becoming defensive. They can admit when they are wrong without feeling weak. And most importantly, they can walk away when something violates their principles. This is where your power begins. Start keeping promises to yourself. If you say you will wake up early, wake up early. If you say you will study, study. If you decide to improve your body, your mind, or your career, stay committed when nobody is watching. Every time you keep a promise to yourself, you build evidence that you can trust yourself. And when you trust yourself, you stop desperately searching for validation from others. You become less concerned with being impressive and more concerned with becoming disciplined. That shift is powerful. Because people who constantly seek approval are easy to manipulate. Someone can control them with praise, silence, rejection, criticism, or acceptance. But when you become comfortable with yourself, those buttons become much harder to press. You don't need to make people afraid of you. You need to become so grounded that disrespect no longer determines your emotional state. Let people misunderstand you. Let some people dislike you. Let some people walk away. Your responsibility is not to be liked by everyone. Your responsibility is to become someone you can respect when you are alone. Because once you stop chasing approval, you stop begging the world to tell you who you are. You decide who you are, and then you live accordingly. Respect begins where unnecessary tolerance ends. If you want people to understand that disrespecting you has consequences, you must first become clear about what you will and will not accept. A boundary is not a threat. It is a decision about how you expect to be treated and what you will do when that standard is crossed. Many people struggle with boundaries because they are afraid of losing relationships. They think saying no will make them look selfish, difficult, or rude. So they tolerate small things. Then they tolerate bigger things. Someone interrupts them repeatedly. They remain silent. Someone constantly cancels plans. They keep accepting excuses. Someone speaks to them disrespectfully. They laugh it off. Eventually, the other person learns something very important. There is no consequence for crossing this person's limits. That is how disrespect becomes a habit. You cannot control how another person behaves, but you can control what access they have to you. That is the foundation of a strong boundary. If someone repeatedly speaks to you disrespectfully, you don't need to scream. You don't need to insult them back. Look at them calmly and say, "I'm willing to have this conversation, but I won't continue if you speak to me that way." Then be prepared to leave the conversation if it continues. The power is not in the sentence. The power is in the consistency behind it. A boundary without action is only a request. When you establish a boundary, make it simple. Don't give a 30-minute explanation. Don't create a long list of excuses. You don't have to convince someone that your boundary is reasonable before you are allowed to have it. "No, I can't do that. I'm not comfortable with that. Please don't speak to me like that. If this continues, I'm going to leave." These statements are simple, but when they are delivered calmly and followed by consistent action, they become powerful. And remember, boundaries are not only for other people, they are also promises you make to yourself. If you tell yourself that you will no longer accept being repeatedly disrespected, then honor that decision. If someone crosses the same boundary again and again, don't keep giving them unlimited opportunities simply because you are afraid of confrontation. You can forgive someone without giving them the same access to your life. You can care about someone without tolerating everything they do. You can love someone and still walk away from unhealthy behavior. This is where many people misunderstand kindness. They think being kind means being endlessly available. It doesn't. You can be compassionate while still being firm. You can have a gentle heart and strong boundaries at the same time. The goal is never to make people afraid of you. The goal is to make your standards clear. When people realize that your words are connected to your actions, they begin to take you seriously. If you say you will leave a disrespectful conversation, leave. If you say you won't participate in something, don't participate. If someone repeatedly violates your boundaries, Create distance. Don't announce your boundaries dramatically. Live them quietly, because real self-respect doesn't need an audience. And eventually people understand that they cannot treat you however they want and still expect unlimited access to your time, attention, energy, and presence. That is when respect becomes natural, not because you demanded it, but because your behavior taught people that your boundaries are real. If you want to become someone people naturally respect, you must learn to control your emotions. Not because emotions are weakness, but because uncontrolled reactions give other people access to your mind. Anyone can make you angry if they know exactly which words to say. Anyone can disturb your peace if they know which buttons to press. But when you learn to pause instead of immediately reacting, you take that power back. Imagine someone insults you in front of other people. Your first instinct may be to respond immediately. You want to defend yourself, prove that you are not weak, and make sure everyone knows you cannot be disrespected. But sometimes the strongest response is not an immediate response. Take a breath. Look at the situation. Ask yourself, if I react emotionally right now, who is actually in control? If another person's words can instantly control your behavior, then they have influence over you. Emotional discipline means creating space between what happens and what you choose to do about it. Someone can criticize you. You can listen. Someone can disagree with you. You can remain calm. Someone can provoke you. You can pause. Someone can walk away from you. You can accept it. This doesn't mean becoming cold or emotionless. It means refusing to allow temporary emotions to make permanent decisions for you. Anger is especially dangerous when it becomes your decision maker. When you are angry, you may say things you don't mean, damage relationships you actually value, or create problems that could have been avoided with 5 minutes of patience. Strength is not the ability to explode. Strength is having the ability to explode and choosing not to. Learn to recognize your triggers. Notice what makes you defensive. Notice when your voice changes, when your heart starts racing, when you feel the urge to prove yourself. These moments are opportunities to practice control. Before responding, pause, take one breath, then another. Ask yourself, what response will make me proud of myself tomorrow? That question can save you from many unnecessary battles. You also need to understand that not every disrespect deserves your attention. Some people provoke others simply because they enjoy getting a reaction. If you react every time, they learn that they can control your emotional state whenever they want. But imagine the opposite. They provoke you and you remain calm. They expect an argument and you simply say, I understand your opinion. They expect you to become defensive and you calmly continue with your day. That kind of composure is powerful because it communicates that your peace is not available for someone else to manipulate. However, emotional control does not mean accepting disrespect silently forever. You can be calm and still be firm. You can say, I don't accept being spoken to like that without shouting. You can leave without slamming the door. You can distance yourself without creating unnecessary drama. Your calmness and your boundaries can exist together. The more you practice emotional discipline, the less you need to prove yourself. You stop reacting to every opinion. You stop arguing with every critic. You stop chasing every person who misunderstands you. You begin choosing your battles carefully, and that changes how people perceive you. They realize that they cannot easily provoke you, manipulate you, or pull you into unnecessary conflict. Your greatest power is not making everyone afraid of your anger. It is becoming so disciplined that your anger no longer controls you. When you master yourself, other people lose the ability to control you through your emotions. And that is one of the strongest forms of personal power you can develop. The strongest form of respect is not created by demanding attention. It is created by becoming a person whose actions consistently communicate strength, discipline, reliability, and self-respect. If you want people to think twice before disrespecting you, don't spend your life trying to convince them that you are powerful. Build a character that speaks for itself. Your words mean very little when your actions constantly contradict them. You can tell people that you are disciplined, but if you cannot keep promises to yourself, people will eventually notice. You can tell people that you value your time, but if you are always available whenever someone calls, your behavior communicates something different. You can tell people to respect your boundaries, but if you repeatedly allow those boundaries to be crossed, your words lose their strength. Respect is built through consistency. Do what you say you will do. Arrive when you said you would arrive. Keep your promises. Take responsibility when you make a mistake. And when you commit to something important, don't abandon it simply because the excitement has disappeared. This is how character is built. You also need to become comfortable with walking away. Not every argument deserves your energy. Not every relationship deserves unlimited access to your life. Not every person who enters your world deserves to stay there. Walking away doesn't mean you are weak. Sometimes walking away is the clearest demonstration that you value your peace more than your ego. If someone repeatedly insults you, you don't need to defeat them in an argument. You can simply reduce your interaction with them. If someone constantly disrespects your time, you can stop making yourself available. If someone repeatedly betrays your trust, you can create distance. You don't have to announce every decision. Just make it. Another important part of earning respect is competence. Become good at something. Develop skills. Learn continuously. Take care of your responsibilities. Become dependable when others need someone they can trust. A person who is disciplined, capable, and reliable doesn't need to constantly announce their worth. Their results speak for them. But don't confuse respect with popularity. Popular people are often afraid of disappointing others. Respected people are willing to make difficult decisions. Sometimes respect means saying no. Sometimes it means admitting you were wrong. Sometimes it means standing alone when everyone else is moving in another direction. And sometimes it means choosing long-term growth over short-term comfort. The world pays attention to patterns, not promises. If you consistently behave with dignity, people learn what kind of person you are. If you remain calm under pressure, they remember it. If you keep your word, they remember it. If you refuse to participate in unnecessary drama, they remember it. If you protect your boundaries without becoming aggressive, they remember that too. Eventually, your reputation begins working before you even speak. People understand that you are not someone who can be easily manipulated. They understand that your kindness does not mean weakness. They understand that your patience has limits. They understand that your presence comes with standards. That is the kind of strength you should build, not the strength to intimidate people. The strength to control yourself. The strength to leave what diminishes you. The strength to stand alone when necessary. The strength to keep going when nobody is applauding. And most importantly, the strength to live according to your principles even when doing so is difficult. When your life becomes consistent with your values, you no longer have to chase respect. You become the kind of person who naturally earns it. Before you leave, remember this. You don't need to make people afraid of you. You need to become someone who cannot be easily disrespected, manipulated, or controlled. Stop chasing approval. Know your worth even when nobody applauds you. Set boundaries. Say no when something crosses the line and have the courage to follow your words with action. Control your emotions. Don't allow someone's anger, criticism, or disrespect to control your peace. The moment you master your reaction, you take back your power. And finally, let your actions speak. Keep your promises. Protect your time. Stay disciplined. Walk away when necessary. Become so consistent that people know exactly what you stand for. Because real power is not making people fear your anger. Real power is making people understand your standards. And here's the question I want you to carry with you after this video. What would change in your life if you stopped trying to be liked and started trying to become someone you truly respect? Think about that. Because the moment you stop begging the world to recognize your value, you begin building a life that proves it. You don't need to announce your strength. You don't need to threaten anyone. You don't need to win every argument. Build yourself quietly. Train your mind. Strengthen your discipline. Protect your peace. respect yourself, and let your character become so strong that disrespect simply no longer has a place in your life. Remember, you cannot control how everyone treats you, but you can control who gets access to you, how you respond, and what you tolerate. So walk away from this video with one decision. From today onward, I will not chase respect. I will become worthy of it. If this message gave you something to think about, don't just listen to it, apply it. Take one lesson from today and practice it in your real life. And if you want more powerful lessons on discipline, self-mastery, confidence, and mental strength, make sure you stay connected with this channel. Thank you for spending these moments with me. Thank you for listening. And most importantly, thank yourself for choosing to grow. Until the next video, stay disciplined, stay calm, protect your peace, and keep becoming stronger than the person you were yesterday. Your transformation begins the moment you decide that your life deserves your highest standard.